As we go into the last month of the year, we continue to see record highs for the S&P 500, the Dow, and also the Nasdaq. And it's also coming as we see the dollar continuing to gain strength. Let's get a picture now and how we go into the last month with Bryan Noble from tradernoble.com. Bryan, welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy.
In the context of what we got low volatility. We seem to be searching out some areas of value, and the perception is that the equity markets continue to deliver that value with these record highs. Where are you positioned along the traders curve?
Well, I haven't been bullish for most of the last 5 years. I think the last time I was in here, which is 6 weeks ago, the Dow was trading just over 26,500, and we've rallied 1,500 points since. I'm actually going the other way now, as I said, for the first time in years. The VIX has closed below 12 for the first time in 14 months on 3 consecutive days. If we go back to October the 3rd last year, the VIX got down to a low of 1187. That was the high in the Dow and the S&P, and both markets fell, as we know, almost 20% into Boxing Day lows before we've had this massive rally since. So there's a record number of short contracts on the VIX, which worries me. The McClellan loss later, which is the internal reading of the market, is only barely in positive territory. It should be a lot higher given what's going on. The economic data is not really great. To put a fair point on it, we saw German retail sales this morning down almost 2%. So it's not a pretty picture. Against that, Trump has got everything he's wanted. It's all about the trade deal. We keep getting it pushed. Phase one. When is it going to happen? We still haven't seen it. So in my view, a lot of this is priced in. Thanksgiving week is obviously always bullish for the markets. We've risen 1% in the S&P this week. Yeah. So I think once we get the half-day session out of the way today, Monday will tell where we are Are we going to get a further rally into Christmas? I don't think so, without a correction first.
So do you think it's going to be difficult? We've got the S&P 500 here. 3154 is the high that we saw a couple of days ago. 24-hour markets at the moment showing a 3147 print. You'd be a seller at this market?
Yeah, my sell level today for my platinum guys is 3153 to 3168 with a tight 75 stop. We're at the top of the Bollinger Band. We're at the top of the Williams Index. Every indicator that I'm following is saying that this market is topping. And then, as I wrote about this morning, Warren Buffett, as we all know, the king of investors, or value investors, he's $128 billion in cash, or basically T-bills, earning his 1.5%. If he's been a decade building these reserves up, so if he's not in the market saying there's no valuations, and who are we to argue against this guy? So he's ready to pounce when we do get a sell-off in the market. Yeah,
you just talked about your positioning on the S&P 500. How about the Dow, the other index you mentioned? And again, you're top of the Bollinger Band. You've got this rise here, record high 28,193, 28,96 is where we are at the moment.
Yeah, again, my sell level in the Dow today is 28,200 to 350 with a tight 410 stop. I think we've come so far so quickly. Again, without the trade deal, we need something to happen, positivity on that. And I think the Chinese are playing hardball themselves. And one interesting statistic: China exports $34 billion worth of furniture to the States. The two tariffs we've seen, a 10% and a 15% rise. One of the main companies had paid $2 million in tariffs so far this year, and as a result it's put them in a loss. So there's huge consequences for these tariffs that has not really been reported. The media is very pro the deal happening, but they're not giving the background of what's happening on the ground.
Okay, so with the Dow at 28.97, what are you looking at in terms of the potential for the downside?
I think we got a break last Wednesday's low of 27,685. I think if we can break that and close below that 27,685, then we should have a run down to 27,000. You can see we're so far away from the moving averages as well. Yeah. Like the 50 days coming in at 29,100. So sorry, 26,900. So we're a long way from the 50-day moving average. So I think we're just overvalued. The oscillators are all overvalued, and as I said, we're at the top of the Bollinger Band and Williams Index.
So all this indicates to you that volatility is going to move up from where we are. And what about the precious metal trades, which we've spoken about before?
Interesting. Gold has been very heavy over the last couple of weeks, where silver has actually done nothing, has traded sideways to higher. If we go back to the last 4 Decembers, and as we approach the 2nd of December on Monday, both gold and silver have bottomed in the middle of those 4 Decembers, and it led to a 10 to 15% rally in the precious metals over the following 3 months. So I think that trend will continue. I think gold has got really good support around the 1430, 1440 area, and silver has very strong support at 1650. So as long as these two levels hold for both metals, I would expect them to move up. Now, against that, you need a weaker dollar, which we're not seeing, and obviously the German retail sales this morning were just awful, and I'm surprised that the DAX, having sold off initially, has bounced back, but we're finally seeing the euro breaking down, below 110 today after a quiet week.
So on this euro-dollar chart, we've got a break of this 109.89 support that we've had, which was the low point we had back on the 14th of November. Are you selling us all the way down to 108.79? This would be euro weakness against that stronger dollar, or do you not think the dollar is going to appreciate in value that much?
Well, the one thing about the dollar is, if you go back to Trump, he's got everything that he wants. He's got. Yeah. Okay, he hasn't got the trade deal yet, but he keeps saying it's in the pipeline, and the markets have reacted accordingly.
Well, he's got to do that politically, because otherwise he's stuck them for the next term, which he's definitely going to want to go for.
But the one thing he wants is a weaker dollar. He had Powell in there a couple of weeks telling him he wants a weaker dollar, he wants lower interest rates. So the market is not reacting to him. So with the euro breaking down on the back of those awful retail sales, I mean, Europe is just a mess, and it makes no sense why equities are so high. The valuations just don't add up given the economic background. And it looks like Europe is going to cut rates again. They have to, given if this trend continues. So against that, if it wasn't for Trump and he wanted a weakened dollar, I'd be selling the euro. So I think the euro, if you go back to the year's low of 108.80, I'd certainly be a buyer. If we go much lower from here, sort of around 109.20 to 109.50, I'd be a reasonably aggressive buyer with a 108.70 stop.
Yep. Okay, all right, got to leave it there. But Bryan, thanks indeed for joining us this roundup as we go into the month of December. That's Bryan Noble from tradernoble.com, and you can catch up more with Bryan on his website, and he'll doubtless answer any questions you have if you contact him through the website at tradernoble.com.